Soon, students will be heading off to college to start a new chapter of their lives, and although it's an exciting time, it can also be overwhelming. In his book, College Success Guaranteed: 5 Rules to Make It Happen, Malcolm Gold has straightforward advice for incoming freshmen. Malcolm is recognized as one of the nation's leading experts on character, education, and parenting. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, freshman year, people don't understand, but it is so critical to do well.
Well, you got to get off to a good start. Easier to study too hard at the beginning and let up later than go the other way.
That's right, it's the foundation.
Exactly.
All right, so what do you think is the biggest challenge for freshmen of today?
I think it's drowning in free time. You come from a structured environment of home, high school, and then you go to this place where there's 168 hours in a week, and you can use them however you want. And you better have a structured, disciplined lifestyle, or you're going to be in trouble.
So how does a parent prepare that child for a more structured lifestyle in college?
Well, I think by the time a kid gets to college, it's time for the parent to step aside, because college is a test for the parent as well. It's how well have they done. But I think it really is I guess you can try to structure a disciplined routine in high school, and that's your best bet.
All right, so you actually interviewed recent students and grads when writing this book. You really narrowed it down to 5 basic rules.
Right.
And let's go with the first one. You say go to class. Well, that to me is, I think, the simple thing.
And everyone has that reaction. And a kid will typically go, duh, go to class.
Exactly, you have to go to class.
I've taught school for 35 years. I've watched thousands of kids go to college. And every single one who had trouble or flunked out, when you boil it down, they didn't go to class. So it's the most critical element. It's the most important rule in the book. You've got to go to class. All
right, so how do you make sure your kid goes to class?
Well, again, once they're in college, you're out of the way.
Exactly, you have no control.
You can say you're not going to pay for it if they don't go to class.
That's true.
And I think you should put your emphasis on that. But that's where it falls down. And when that falls down, the whole thing collapses. Because
if you don't go to class, you're not learning, and
you're missing out on memory triggers. The professor says inside jokes. And even if your roommate gets the notes for you, you're just going to miss out on a lot of the nuances of what goes on.
That's true. All right. The second thing you say is study at least 3 hours a day.
5 days.
5 days a week.
Take 2 days where you do nothing. And I try to stay away from the don'ts. The book does not get into what you shouldn't do. It's totally focused on what you need to do. And I say that you have to make the transition from homework to studying. That's 2 different things. A high school kid, the teacher says your homework for tomorrow is. A college professor gives you a syllabus, and you may have nothing due for 6 weeks. And that's how you can fall into drowning into free time.
So you have to keep up with your notes, read the chapters.
It's hard to make yourself study when there's nothing due for 6 weeks. But that's the trick. Commit to studying and get away from homework.
All right. The next one is what you just said. Commit to something.
Right. If you go to all your classes and you study the 3 times 5, that's 27 hours. So there's 141 hours left over. And you can still get yourself in some real jams with all that free time. I say commit to a team, the play, write in the newspaper, get involved in something. Although it's counterintuitive, some people might say, well, shouldn't I be studying that time? The fact is you're not going to study during that time.
That's true. That's reality.
I played a sport in the spring when I was in college, and I did better in the spring. Even though it took up a lot of my time, but I couldn't take off on long weekends. If my grades dipped, my lacrosse coach would call me in and read me the riot act. I did better in the spring.
You're forced to manage your time more because you have less time.
You have to be somewhere. You surround yourself with other people that are also committed to something, because there are a lot of free time activities you can get into which are counterproductive. So I say commit to, even though it seems like you're taking away from your time, I say you'll do better.
And what exactly do you mean by a kryptonite detector?
Well, you got to know what your weaknesses are. It's like Superman. The one thing that can bring Superman down is kryptonite. So you got to know what your weaknesses are, and don't kid yourself. In my case, I like to have fun, too much fun. And I had to realize that and not put myself in positions where I could do that.
So don't seduce yourself.
Exactly.
Okay. One thing I always think that is extremely important is to get a mentor.
Yes.
And you say that as well.
It's very important, whether it's a coach, whether it's a professor. You might have an off-campus job, and it might be your employer, but preferably an adult, someone who's got a little distance from the experience and can help you do your best. And don't make it somebody who's necessarily going to be your friend all the time. Someone who's going to hold you to your
Somebody
best.
who's going to be critical.
Yes, both.
Both.
Critical and supportive.
And if you don't have a mentor, what could happen?
Well, again, you sort of fall inward, and you can veer way off track. In my case, my coach in college, I didn't particularly like him, but he helped me tremendously. I have a great deal of respect and affection for him today, and that's what great mentors do.
Now, the last thing you say is procrastination kills.
Right. I interviewed, as you say, hundreds of kids for this book. And one day I was in a room with about 10 college kids, and I said, what's the one thing you'd tell an incoming freshman? And one of them said, procrastination kills. And everyone started telling their procrastination stories. And
everybody has them.
And everybody does it. I did it writing this book. Writing this book, I procrastinated. So that part of the book deals with little tricks, techniques that kids have developed to avoid procrastination.
Yeah, and the thing here is to wake up. Make sure that
helps.
You don't. Don't let procrastination kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And
you
can have fun with it. And some kids told some very funny stories of things that they did to keep themselves on track.
Very good. Now you also have a book signing coming up this fall. You'll be back in Connecticut, and let's take a look at that information on the screen right now. Actually, we don't have it. Wednesday, October 12th, 7:30 p.m. at the Darien High School lecture. It's a lecture in conjunction with the YWCA Parent Awareness Group. So you're really getting the word out to parents. Make sure your freshmen your freshmen are ready to get to college and be prepared.
That's the hope.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, the name of the book is College Success Guaranteed: 5 Rules to Make It Happen. Malcolm Gold, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.